Again, Article 148 of the Constitution provides for an independent office of Comptroller and Auditor General of India. He holds office for the period of 6 years. This is a very important one, 6 years, or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earliest. The power of Election Commission is to be divided into the three categories. One is administrative, advisory, and quasi-judicial. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I am Abhilash from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students. Now here we will understand about a beautiful topic that is all about the Interstate Council, that is the Article 263, which deals with this establishment of interstate councils for the coordination between center and state as well as among the different states. Now, who are the people who will coordinate from one state to another state, from the central government to the state government? There is always a question mark, right? Now you got the answer, that is the Interstate Council. They will actually do it. Say once Mahatma Gandhi ji, he said that each and every person in India should be developed, only then the entire country is developed. So he had this, the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, like that. He had a kind of things where he felt that if everyone are developed, only then the nation will be developed. That's the reason this Interstate Council, they'll make sure that from center to the state, from a state to another state, if there should be any development and there should be anything to be discussed, now we need to have something called the Interstate Council. The President establishes such a council and also defines its duties and organizations. Its decision is advisory in nature and is not binding. It is, they're gonna take the suggestions, but it is not binding that only that should be taken. That is what it is. Next, composition of Interstate Council. The first thing is Prime Minister has a chairman, Chief Ministers of all the states and Union Territories having a legislative assembly will also be there. So please understand, whenever we talk about Union Territory, Delhi is a capital Union Territory where you have a Chief Minister. The same way, if you go with it, Pondicherry is also Union Territory, plus you have a Chief Minister. So please do understand that. And people who are the representative, that is the legislative assemblies. Administrators of Union Territories with no legislative assemblies. Say there are so many Union Territories where no legislative assemblies are there. Say example, Pondicherry and Delhi, they have legislative assemblies, but apart from that, right, Nagar Haveli, Daman, Diu, they don't have legislative assemblies. Governors of the states under the president rule. So wherever the president rule is there you have a person called the governor, again appointed by the president of India. He or she should be there. 6 central cabinet ministers nominated by the Prime Minister, but appointed by whom? By the President. See, any appointment happens in the central level, it is done by the President of India. Any appointment which happens in the state, it is done by the governors. By whom? The governors. So this is what the composition of Interstate Council. Next is Comptroller and General Auditor, right? General Auditor, that is Auditor General of India. Now you can get a 5 marks question here. Again, Article 148 of the Constitution provides for an independent office of Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Now what exactly they do? Anything with finance, central and the state, who is the person? The auditor, comptroller, auditor general. So here, CAG is considered as the guardian of the public purse, right? The Batwa, the budget. Along with the Supreme Court, the Election Commission and the Union Public Service Commission, The office of CAG is treated as one of the bulwarks of the democratic system. So it is exactly has the same power what this UPSC or any other election commission, which is a statutory body, they also have a very important pivotal role. Next is appointment. Now who appoints? I told you central, anything happen, who will appoint? President of India. So here appointment, President of India appoints CAG by a warrant under his hand and a seal. So all your signature and the seal is from whom? From the President of India. He holds office for the period of 6 years. This is a very important one, 6 years, or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. Say example now, the person CAG is 61 years and he was appointed 61 years. Now, the tenure for the position is 6 years, but the retirement age is how much? 65 years. So here what happened? If it is 6 years, then it should be 65 retirement, right? But it will not happen. Whichever is earlier. So he'll have that only for 4 years, because 65 will come early, right? Not the 6 years of the tenure. So whichever is early. Next is CAG can be removed from his office in the same manner as Judge of Supreme Court. We call it as impeachment. The way the Supreme Court judge can be removed, the same way CAG also goes with a protocol. Now duties, what are the duties? First duties. The duties and power of CAG are mentioned in the article 149. So appointment is 148, duties is 149. All the accounts related to expenses from the consolidated fund of India, consolidated fund of the states and union territory are audited by CAG. Everything. See how we have the personal auditor. Same way CAG will do it for central, state, union, everywhere. The expenditure from contingency fund and public account of India and states are audited by CAG. The net proceeds of any tax or duty or assessment and certified, that is done by whom? The CAG. So this is a 5 marks question. You can write the composition first and then you can come with the duties. Next one is Election Commission. Again, it is a statutory body. When I say that, it is independent. Nobody has the power. But again, who will appoint? President of India. So Election Commission is a permanent and independent body. I told you, right? It is what? Independent body. The formation of EC, Election Commission, is prescribed by the Article 3 to 4 of the Constitution. It is common to both central and the state government. The elections to Parliament, state legislature, the office of President, Vice President are looked after the Election Commission. So wherever a democratic election happens, Election Commission should be there. Say it can be direct election, it can be indirect election. The Election Commission should be there and their protocol should be taken care, right? See, when I say direct election, Lok Sabha elections are all direct, right? President election is indirect. Again, if you try to understand the direct and indirect, in the next session I'll teach you properly what exactly all these elections are all about in the next semester, because you will be curious to know what exactly the procedure of the indirect election of the Vice President and other people. Next is composition. Now, Election Commission consists of Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners. President fixes the number of election commissioners, but there will be only one chief one chief election commissioner and 2 will be the election commissioners. So again, it is the president who fixes that. The appointment of the chief election commissioner as well as the other election commissioners is made by the president. At present, election commission consists of chief election commissioner and 2 election commissioners. The term of the office of election commissioners is 6 years. Again, Auditor General, 6 years. or until they attain the age of 65 years, whichever is early, right? So example now, the person who is the chief election commissioner, he is 58, retirement is 65. Now when will he get retired, or when he will go with his tenure, if you go with it? The minute he is 58, the first thing here is what? 6 years is the maximum. So 58 plus 6 years if you go with it. Now whichever is early, the tenure will be done. That is what the basic calculation is. The power of election commission is to be divided into the three categories. One is administrative, advisory and quasi-judicial. So these are the three heads where they will be divided. Appointment and tenure of the commissioners. The president has the power to select the chief election commissioner and election commissions. They have tenure of 6 years, the same way what I have explained you. They have the same status and receives pay and perks as available to judges of Supreme Court of India. So the status is very high. The chief election commissioner can be removed from the office only through accusation by the parliament, Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. If they accuse and it is proved guilty, only then. It is not like just accusation. It should be proved. That is what it is. Election commissioners or the regional commissioners shall not be removed from the office except on the recommendation of the chief election commissioners. Just like that, you can't throw them. The chief election commissioner consent should be there. That means again, they should be found guilty and then the chief election commissioner will take a call. Functions. Now here, this is a 5 marks question which can come for you people. So whoever are in the, say, example, first years, right? The constitutional values, if it is for 10 marks. So please do understand this. Functions and powers of Rajya Sabha. Now Rajya Sabha being the upper house of Indian Parliament, it is also called the House of Seniors. Does not possess co-equal power. They don't have the equal power with the Lok Sabha in the matter of money, right? Money matter, which is lower house of Union Parliament, they have it. That is, Lok Sabha has more power. In financial matter, it has the much less power than the Lok Sabha. In non-money matters, both the houses have co-equal power. A non-money bill can be moved in either houses of the parliament. When it comes to money bill, it can't be moved to Rajya Sabha. When the government feels that the work with the Lok Sabha is heavy, it introduces non-money bills in the Rajya Sabha so that all discussions and heat which usually is generated on new bill finds its expression in that house, and comparatively less time of Lok Sabha is consumed over such bills. That's the reason the Rajya Sabha is made. Functions, if you go, every non-money bill must be passed by both the houses. There can, however, be disagreement between the two houses on any non-money bill. In order to solve that, the president can call for joint sitting of both the houses. There are so many times where joint sitting is there. The composition of Lok Sabha, the maximum, say we have 552 divided by a kind of composition, that is 530 in the states and 20 are from the Union Territory and 2 are the Anglo-Indians. So the maximum number of people that can be elected in Lok Sabha is 552. Out of these 552, 530 are elected to be the member of the states, while 20 are the members represented in the Union Territory, that is again Delhi as well as the Pondicherry. The remaining 2 people are from the Anglo-Indian communities, that is elected by the President of India. They don't have the voting power in the parliament. The current structure of Lok Sabha consists of 543. Now we have how many? 543 people are there. Also, the state representatives are directly elected by the people from their respective constituency. Under the Constitutional Amendment Act of 1988, the voting age was reduced to 18 years from 21 years, and this is done by Rajiv Gandhi, the father of Rahul Gandhi. He did adult suffrage. He went with that. So qualification, first thing is all about citizen of India. So I have written here what are the qualifications here. He or she should be the citizen of India. He slash she slash he should be the citizen of India. Again, she slash he is not less than 25 years. Again, she slash he has resided in the constituency for a minimum period as prescribed by the law. These are the qualifications to be a Lok Sabha member. Again, here also please do understand, everywhere it is she slash he. She slash he should not be of unsound mind, should not otherwise be disqualified to become a member of Lok Sabha, should not hold any office of profit either in central or in the service of the state government, should subscribe that he or she owes allegiance to the Constitution of India and will uphold country's unity and integrity. Only then they are qualified to be a member of Lok Sabha. The powers, now it is divided into many. One is the legislative functions and next is executive function. Now in the legislative, what happens is, here directly they are elected representative of the people, has comparatively more power than the Rajya Sabha, which consists of indirect elections. So the powers are more here. Executive, then comes control over the executive, that is under the constitution of Council of Ministers is jointly and collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. It can remain in position and authority only as long as it enjoys the confidence of the majority of the house. They can go with the executive functions also. Next is powers and functions. Here if you go with it, electoral functions. The Lok Sabha has also electoral functions to perform in the election of president. The Lok Sabha is an integral part of electoral college which is constituted to elect him. The president election, Lok Sabha plays a very pivotal role. Now here, ventilating of grievances. Lok Sabha has the important function of removing and ventilating the grievance of the people. That is, they are directly elected, right? So they will go with the ventilation of the grievance. The members of Lok Sabha are supposed to be in contact with their electorates. Now they will definitely be in contact with them because whatever they have a problem, the public have a problem, they are the people who are supposed to solve it. Next one is judiciary. Whenever we go with judiciary, please do understand we have Supreme Court, that is the apex court, right? They the apex. They are the supremo. That's why it is called Supreme Court. Then we have the High Court. Then we have the district courts. Now, judiciary is the third organ of the government. It plays a pivotal role in protecting the rights and freedom of the citizens. They are the people who give judgments. The first one here we have is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, if somebody hears it, they feel a kind of nervousness, but please do understand, they are only here to save us from people who have cheating us, who are threatening us, who are doing all nonsense. So don't worry about the word Supreme Court, because you should always feel they are the people who are going to give justice. Supreme Court is the guardian of the Constitution. That's why they are what? They are the guardian of the Constitution. Our judiciary is autonomous of the legislative and executive wing of union and state. No MLA, MP or CM, even the Prime Minister or the President cannot do anything. It is a judgment given by whom? The Supreme Court. That's why Supreme Court gives a very important power, that is a veto power, or we call it as a pardon, that is only to the President of India, right? I'll talk more about that later. An integrated judiciary means a single judicial hierarchy for the whole country. The judiciary plays an important role in defensive and rights and freedom of citizen. It plays an important role in analyzing and interpreting the necessities of laws and the Constitution. So it will only uphold the Constitution. Now, qualification of a Supreme Court, please do understand 65 years is the age limit. He must be a citizen of India, that is the first one. He should have worked as a judge of a high court for at least 5 years, and he should have worked as advocate for 10 years in a high court. Then only they can be the Supreme Court judge. So here, he should have worked as an advocate of high court for at least 10 years. Then they can be the Supreme Court judge. Powers, original jurisdictions. Now here, what all the jurisdictions they'll come? Dispute between the government of India and one or more states. Dispute between two or more states. That's why Kaveri problem, that is Tamil Nadu, say Karnataka, where it goes? Supreme Court. The writs are issued by the Supreme Court for the enforcement of the fundamental rights. Anywhere your fundamental rights are being taken by somebody else, right? The state or by anybody, you can go to the Supreme Court. Next is appellate jurisdictions. Now here when you go with it, please do understand. The Supreme Court is the final appellate court in the country. Has regarded the appellate jurisdiction, the Supreme Court hears appeals against the decisions of High Court in civil, criminal and constitutional. So they are the supreme, that is the final appellate. So if anything happened in the district court, you can go to the High Court. Anything happened in the High Court where you feel, no, I have not got justice, you can go to the Supreme Court. That is what it says. So you have gone with two things. The next is advisory as well as miscellaneous jurisdictions. The Constitution confers of the President of the power to refer to Supreme Court any question of law or fact which in his opinion is a public importance. I told you, right, that power is given to the President. So that is what it is. Miscellaneous, the law declared by Supreme Court is binding on all courts within the territory of India. The Supreme Court is authorized to make rules for regulation, that is regulating generally the practice and procedures of the court with the approval of the President. Again, they can make big statements. They can change the course of law for the benefit of the people, but they should take advice as well as they should take the approval from whom? From the President. That is what the Supreme Court does. Powers and functions of Supreme Court, again, judicial review, that is the review can be taken. The power of the judiciary to declare a law as unconstitutional is known as judicial review. Disputes between central and the states can be taken care. To interrupt and clarify a provision of the Constitution about which there are some doubts and differences of opinion, they'll come and they'll take a decision. Protecting the fundamental rights, that is the main thing. Those laws passed by the legislature which are not in accordance with the Constitution, that will also be taken care by whom? Supreme Court. So any doubt regarding the entire session, please do call us. We are always there to help you. Thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you. Thank you.